Now to your vote 2022. There were fireworks last night at the final face-off between Governor J.B. Pritzker and Republican candidate Darren Bailey.
This as the November midterm election is less than 3 weeks away. ABC 7 political analyst Laura Washington is in the studio right now. She joins us to talk about it. Laura, good morning.
Morning, Tanya and Val.
Good morning, Laura. I mean, you know what? So I was out and about last night picking up my son, and you know that meeting I had at the school, but as soon as I was walking in the door, my girlfriend texted me. She said, "Girl, turn on the debate." And I was already
TV.
Right, not anything else. I texted her back and I said, "I got my popcorn and I'm watching the debate." It was something else.
It was good television, Laura, but did anyone win?
Well, you know, it was hot and heavy. Each guy got their blows in. You know, I think it was a draw. I think Bailey had to outperform because he's so far behind in the polls. I don't think that happened last night. I don't think we learned that much new that we didn't already know about these two men. I don't think it's going to change a lot of people's minds.
Well, the candidates know how this stuff works. What was each candidate's main message?
Well, the governor's main message is that I've been a good governor. I've been a good steward of the state. Keep me in office so I could continue to do this great job. And he also took a lot of opportunities to hit at Bailey, to say that Bailey was too extreme for Illinois and he would be too dangerous for Illinois. Bailey, on the other hand, of course, said that Pritzker had done a terrible job on many counts. He said that he would fix the problems around crime, that he would improve education, and he would lower taxes. He was very good, Bailey, at keeping focused on those 3 points. Pritzker's response was, "Well, what's your plan?" And Pritzker complained that Bailey maybe had some ideas, but no plan behind the ideas.
And to that point, Laura, when Pritzker challenged Bailey and said, "Okay, that's fine, that's your claim, but what are your plans?" and Bailey didn't really say anything or have a response, what do you think that does for voters?
Well, I think it's a challenge for him because I think he doesn't want to get boxed into positions and into promises that he's not prepared to keep. He has never been involved in state government per se. He's been a state senator, so he doesn't want to be caught in that trap. But it does raise questions in the voters' minds. You know, what are you going to give me? What are you going to tell me that's going to make me feel as though you're going to do a better job in the specifics that J.B. Pritzker has done?
Another hot button topic was abortion, Laura. Let's have a listen to this.
Let's talk about extremism. Governor Pritzker is perfectly fine with our children getting abortions without their parents knowing anything about it. I think that's extreme. Governor Pritzker is perfectly fine injecting his gender curriculum, the first of its kind in the nation, into our schools. Woke ideology. I think that's extreme.
Bailey wants to ban abortion in Illinois. He wants to jail doctors and jail women who are seeking to exercise their reproductive rights. I have stood my whole life for women exercising their rights, especially their reproductive rights. We've got to make sure that Illinois is a haven for women all across our state.
A lot to be said on this subject, Laura.
Well, you know, abortion has been front and center ever since we heard that the Supreme Court was going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And the Democrats have been doing everything they can to keep it front and center because they think it's a hot-button issue that will generate turnout and generate interest among their voters. And, of course, as you could see, Pritzker's trying to basically say that Bailey would come in and outlaw abortion. Bailey has been trying to stay away from that subject for obvious reasons, and his response has always been, you know, even if I became governor, I cannot control the legislature. The legislature is going to be heavily Democratic. They're going to be making the laws, and there's nothing I can do to change the abortion issue.
All right, Laura, let's get to this. Finally, the two candidates were asked to end the debate by saying something nice about their opponent. I'll save my thoughts. So what were your thoughts on that?
Well, that was about, Darren Bailey said that he liked the fact that J.B. Pritzker had nice suits, looked good. He wanted him to take him suit shopping. And in the case of Pritzker, Pritzker said he admired Bailey because he had been in a long-term 30-year marriage. He'd married his high school sweetheart. So it was really soft and fuzzy stuff, positive stuff. It was very personal stuff, which, you know, we want to hear what the candidates think about each other personally, but they also didn't want to get into politics. They didn't want to get into having to say specific things that they thought the other guy did right politically or in governing, because God forbid they should say that.
All right, Laura Washington. 3 weeks to go before the election, and people are already starting to cast their ballots with early voting.
That's right, Laura. Thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning for sure.
Again, the election less than 3 weeks away. We have all the information you need about the candidates, your polling places, and where to vote early at abc7chicago.com. Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our ABC7 Chicago YouTube channel.